St. Louis, Missouri, my hometown. St. Louis is home to many things: the Gateway Arch, the apotheosis of St. Louis, a wide range of food, and several sports teams: Blues hockey, Cardinals baseball, City soccer, Battlehawks football, and, no basketball. Well, we did have an NBA team. They even won a championship in 1958. They were the St. Louis Hawks. Play the intro. Raise your hand if you knew St. Louis had an NBA team. The St. Louis Hawks are one of the more forgotten defunct teams in NBA history despite a championship. So what happened with the Hawks? Get in the time machine, it's time for another history lesson. Similar to the Browns, the Hawks did not start in St. Louis. The Hawks weren't even called the Hawks. In 1946, the Hawks started in Buffalo as the Buffalo Bisons. There is not much to talk about when talking about the Bisons. They lasted only 13 games. After that, they moved to 3 cities: Moline, Illinois, Rock Island, Illinois, and Davenport, Iowa. The Bisons were renamed the Tri-Cities Blackhawks. The Blackhawks made the playoffs a few times but never made the finals. Then in 1951, the Blackhawks were shortened to Hawks and moved to Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Hawks lasted only 4 years with no playoff appearances. After that, the Hawks moved to St. Louis. 3 relocations in less than 10 years. When the Hawks arrived in St. Louis, they were a fun team to watch. They had a future Hall of Famer, the greatest St. Louis Hawk, Bob Pettit. It helped the Hawks make the NBA Finals. Not even once, they did it 4 times. Unlike the Browns, the Hawks won a championship. In 1958, the Hawks took down the Boston Celtics in 6 games, led by a 50-point performance by Pettit in Game 6. Good revenge for the previous finals defeat last year. The other 2 finals appearances, in 1960 and 1961, against those same Celtics, weren't so lucky. The Hawks were a strong team throughout the 50s and 60s. In the 13 years the Hawks were in St. Louis, they missed the playoffs only once. They made the finals 4 times, won their division 6 times, and finished second place 4 times. So with all this, you are wondering, why did the Hawks leave? It's simple. Attendance wasn't the best. The Hawks averaged 8,000 fans around the time of their championship runs. But when the Blues came to town as an expansion team, the Hawks' attendance dropped. After the 1968 season, owner Ben Kerner, who had owned the Hawks since they were the Bisons, decided to sell the Hawks. Kerner nearly sold the Hawks to a group from New Orleans, but it fell through. Then on May 3rd, 1968, the Hawks were sold to Atlanta real estate developer Thomas Cousins and former Georgia Governor Carl Sanders. The Hawks were moving to Atlanta. Unlike the Devils and Orioles, who won championships after finding their permanent home, the Atlanta Hawks haven't been so lucky. The Hawks have made the 3rd round twice since the move. The Hawks haven't made it to the finals in their time in Atlanta. While the Hawks have promised, they will need a lot to get back to the finals. The St. Louis Hawks are more of a tragedy when you look at their story. With many defunct teams, they were factors of bad ownership and management, historically awful teams, or in the case of the Scouts, being screwed over by all of the above plus other factors. The Hawks were a great team, they didn't have fan support. It hurt that they played at Kiel Auditorium, which only seated around 9,300 people. When the Blues started their first season in the NHL, they played at the St. Louis Arena, which had a capacity of 14,500 seats. It's hard to tell if playing at the arena would have saved the Hawks. It also hurts when the St. Louis Hawks set the seeds for 2 other NBA franchises. I mentioned that Atlanta got the Hawks in 1968. Also that year, the Milwaukee Bucks started as an expansion team. Unlike Atlanta, Milwaukee has 2 championships and is one of the best teams in basketball. Just don't mention their recent playoff performance. With all that being said, 2 of the 3 cities in this tale have teams, leaving 1 city without one: St. Louis. It leaves a hard truth. The St. Louis Hawks are the Scouts of basketball. A team forgotten by many in the sport, one that set the seeds for 2 other cities to get franchises of their own, and many people questioning if that city will get a team again. Maybe one day an NBA team will take the court at Enterprise Center. It's been more than 20,000 days since an NBA game was played in St. Louis. Someday an NBA team will return to St. Louis. Someday. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I know this was a shorter video than the last two. I wanted to get this video done before I work on other projects. I have some ideas in the works, including those non-sports related. I will send out a poll, and many of you want something different, so I'll test it out and see what you all think. I hope you'll join me. I'll see you in the next video.